The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. Right. But people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays to our listeners, friends, family, and community. This is Town Hall Cafe, and we've been here at Morris Media Studios for 1 year. Now that's a yay!
Right.
We're just here, and we have good people, and we're just going to continue here in 2019. So my name is Pat Diggs. I'm with Operation Backlot, and welcome to Town Hall Cafe, Los Angeles at Morris Media Studio. And right now we want to thank Morris Media staff for their support in our creative endeavors for the last year. Today we have Tyler Bell.
Hi.
And we have Mariah Smiley as our special guest, and of course Miss A. Couture co-hosting the show with me. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. So we're here on our Christmas set today talking about those words unity, peace, goodwill, and toward men. The words that make up this season of giving, Christmas. Right. Now, what do these words really mean? Are they just automatic jingles of the season? A 24-hour feel-good? How do we live or not live those words in our community in 2019? Or maybe they should be obsolete in the 21st century. So this is what we're going to talk about a little bit today in terms of what do these words mean? I mean, we say it every year, and we give gifts, and we say peace, unity, feel good. But it just seems like during the year, it just doesn't, really mean anything. People don't. They say it once a year,
once a year,
and
yeah,
that's a wrap.
Okay.
So let's just talk about that a little bit. Do these words have any meaning anymore, or what do you think, Mariah?
Well, I think in our generation that they have meaning to me, but a lot of people, they don't really show it, as much as they used to. And as far as social media, it's easy to be distracted or, come up with a new definition of what the words may mean to them. And I just feel like, as far as unity and peace and a lot of the violence that's going on, there's not as much peace as we had when we were younger growing up and stuff. And goodwill, as far as goodwill, I think goodwill is just giving in the kindness of your heart whatever you can afford, as far as, Christmas holidays. But I feel like it shouldn't just be celebrated or just, said once a year, because if it have meaning, it should be shown throughout the year. As far as, because there's the same issues that we're facing during holidays, the same issues we're facing throughout the year. Just because it's a holiday doesn't mean that we have to, pretend that we are, what we're trying to be, which is like the unity and the peace by coming together and collaborating. But I just think that as far as unity is just coming together in your community and showing your community the thanks that you're giving, not just on holidays, but just period. and peace. Peace is just, I think peace is within you, and you help other people find their peace, and that's what peace should be about. Not peace as in separation, or peace, as in my own meditation, but you show peace by showing it to others or helping them find their own peace. And nowadays we don't really do that. We just kind of like, well, it's a traditional thing, but then they don't really know the history of why it's a traditional thing. It's just kind of like, oh, it's this new trend, so then we follow the trend, But I think a lot of people don't have their own definition of these 3 words. They just kind of follow what other people has been said, and then that doesn't really mean much if you don't know the history behind these 3 meanings of words, because they're powerful.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they've been powerful throughout, history.
Yeah.
But it just seems like we're in times right now that, if you say a kind word to somebody or say hello or people don't say anything back to you.
Yeah.
And then it makes you get an attitude. It's like,
Right.
wait a second, why am I saying hi to you? And you were talking a little bit about that, at lunch today.
Yes, I think even Tyler, she threw out some things that was important in regards to that.
Yeah, people don't have peace and goodwill anymore. Everybody's so negative or having negative energy. You could just politely open the door for somebody. They don't say thank you, nothing. They'll just walk past you like you didn't open the door for them.
Right. And it seems like people are so selfish.
Yeah, that's it.
It's really selfish nowadays. Like, they don't care. They care more so about themselves.
Right. Right. And I think we just have to focus on, instead of using just the words, really understanding what it means to have unity, what it means to have, be peace. Because you have to be peaceful to give out peace.
Yeah.
Peace doesn't mean anything. It's an internal state of mind.
Yeah.
And so what keeps peace on earth is that you have a bunch of people who are not walking around hot-headed, on edge, overwhelmed, stressed out, so everything that, is being, projected as just words starts from the inside. You have to be good as a person, and you have to give goodness to people that are around you to see goodwill. That's why a lot of people don't know the definition, because they don't do a lot of self-analyzation,
Exactly.
So that word, the word goodwill, that sort of kind of means that you're putting forward the effort.
Right.
Because will is willpower.
Right.
And good is good. So
you're willing to do it from the
and you have
goodness
to
of
be
your heart.
willing to do good consistently, And unity is just that. All of us are sitting here as Black women, we're united.
Right.
We have to be intentional about not being about ourselves and connecting as a community.
Right.
And so what happens is it takes it from being an external thing to being an internal thing. And if people don't want to deal with their internal struggles, then they won't be able to, place it out there in the external, environments that they're in daily.
Yeah. Because you start thinking about, you're going to Africa or going to other cultures. They used to live in tribes, and tribes were their families, and there were certain order of things, and you had to stick together for survival.
Exactly.
And I just remember when I was growing up, and of course I'm older than probably everybody here, but I just remember it was a point that, especially in the African American community, it just seemed like we were more together then, because everyone was saying, "Oh, I know a job here, I know school here."
Right.
Everybody would do, because we were so segregation, and we were all oppressed. But it just seemed like in the last years or so is that we're at each other more, to the point of, we just saw this in the parking lot, that we had a car. It was a blue car. It was a red car that hit this blue car that was parked, tore up this man's fender, and he stood there for a while and he ran away.
Left no
anything. And then the person came back to the car that was just crying. I mean, should he have left a note, or?
I mean, we know the things that people should and should not do, but I think now we can all agree that the difference between when we were coming up, because I'm a little bit behind you, a little bit ahead of them, a little bit behind you, so I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I was the transition group, I guess you can say. But the problem was, at that time, there were no options. And now the world gives you so many options.
Right.
Now it's okay to be mean or to be the B word. It's celebrated. You know, it's okay to just go crazy on people. Like, it's such, our culture has become so loose now that before, you know, there was some decency and there was some camaraderie and things within the community. But a lot of it was probably because there was no other way out. And like how it was in the slave trade, when there was options to disseminate, we were, you know, a lot of things was placed upon us, but a lot of things we also helped with because, you know, we had now options. We were presented with alternatives. And I think people now are presented with the alternative that I don't have to be good. Right. You know, I don't
just
have
bad
because
behavior is praise. Like, it's more praise.
You
now.
get more viewers, you get fame.
More drama, you get fame. So if you're doing something bad,
then it's just
and you talked about that too today.
It's just bad behavior gets praised more than good behavior.
Yeah. And actually, I was reading this the other day too. It's really biological, and I think, you know, I hope I don't get in trouble by this, but all this high tech Instagram and Facebook. I was
just going to say that. These
guys, it is programmed, you know, to get you in that dramatic mode because there's certain portions of the brain that turns on to that.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And for some reason, love does not, or that good feeling is not that addictive, then the bad feeling is addictive.
Right.
Well, it goes back to what we were just talking about, because if my internal insides is messed up, I don't want to celebrate somebody else, you know, or I don't, you know, remember I mean, look at the Christmas classics, Mr. Grinch or Mr. Scrooge, you know, they were Mr. chronically unhappy and they were determined that
to
they were going to make everybody else around them unhappy. So you can look at a viral video of someone getting beat up and it can go 100 million people can watch it and it's okay. It's celebrated, you know, but let it be just someone spreading kindness and goodness. It doesn't get that because people want to anesthetize their pain by either inflicting it on other people or cocooning with other people that have those same issues.
It's like misery loves company.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
Yes, people don't want to be happy. And so what we have to do is we have to get back to that source of what's wrong with our insides.
Well, I would think a lot of people don't have structure. Like I think it starts with the home, like, you know, and if you don't have structure within the home or you don't have, you know, morals within yourself, and a lot of people don't or can't find their own integrity on why and who they are. So then they follow the trends of, like you were saying, as far as the derogatory, you know, language and just the violence and the fighting and not really caring for others, you know. And then, I mean, it's just, it's layers to it, but I think it all starts with, like, the integrity with yourself, because if you love yourself or you love people and you want to do better, you don't want to see the next person hurt, or you don't, you know, you want to try to uplift them as much as you can, but because social media promotes all this negativity and you get more views and you get paid for it as well, it's just kind of like, well, then, you know, I get recognition faster than I would as if I was doing good deeds, you know. And it's like, well, if I need these views or I'm doing this or become famous or the fast life, I need to, you know, do what it takes. Like for example, I mean, and it's not much of bad deeds, but it does go back to social media. Like when the guy, you know, one of the kids died on the car when he was trying to go surf riding on the car and ended up dying, all because of the views and stuff like that. And it's like, well, how dangerous are you guys going to go as far as these views and, you know, yourself within, like, and I'm just like, wow,
isn't that a little crazy?
It is. It's crazy. Like, I wouldn't put my life on the line, or no one else's. You know, I want to see everybody do good at the same time, but it's just kind of like a lot of people and parents, they don't really teach, you know, their kids about others. They're like, okay, well, you just worry about this and you worry about yourself and you worry about that, because people out here is like this and like that. But if you teach them how to be like that, then that's all they're going to attract is stuff like that and negativity and, you know, violence. But social media, it's horrible because it's not what it's supposed to be, and it's not used what it was intended to be used for. It's supposed to be used to connect in the goodness and, you know, market your business. But now it's like marketing yourself and, you know, trying to get people to come find you, or just fights and just all type of stuff that's
it's
just
not
like,
what it used to be. Like, it's changed.
Yeah, what does it used to be when
it wasn't like that. Like, people just verbally abuse you more now. Like, anything you post can be something positive. Somebody will take the negative out of it and just throw it at you. It's like, why does everything have to be so negative? I don't understand that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it goes back to what you're both saying. You know, the value systems now is so low in our culture. Okay. And I think also we've grown up in an environment where we've we've taught children at a young age to always receive attention.
Yeah.
And this is how you dance and smile for the camera. And, oh, this is little, Susie, go and do this song and then everybody, yay, yay, yay. And if you grow up with that, when you're an adult, that trigger is going to come back. Oh, if I do this pose, now you may be, 26 doing a pose nowhere near like the pose you was doing when you were 6.
Right.
But it's that dopamine, that you get, that same praise that'll trigger back to when you were 6 years old. Likewise, negativity can trigger something in you. Positivity can trigger something. So what happens is that, life is crazy now and nobody's standing around clapping for you like they used to, but they're liking now.
It's for a like.
It's for a like.
And I was reading, I forgot what article I was reading, but it was just going back to the brain and how the brain works and stuff, and even how social media is to the point where it's more so like a habit. Once you get likes, it's like your brain's just like, ooh, okay, I like that. I want to see people recognize me or love what I'm doing, whether it's good or bad. And it's like the more likes I get, the more better I feel about myself.
But
it's just like
it's attention.
Yeah.
And don't we all want
attention deficit, right?
And we all want attention.
And what we have to do now is we have to start talking to people about changing the narrative of the type of attention that you want to receive. Because, like you were just saying, if you can take something bad out of something good and get a whole bunch of likes, why would I waste my time?
Right. But a lot of people have insecurity, so they stick to the internet to get those
validation.
Validation. They want attention.
And then who are these people on the internet? I mean,
right.
I think, and that's the whole thing. I think it's coming, to a head about what is this internet? What is this social media? And who's getting paid for all this stuff? Who's actually manipulating your mind?
Right.
And it's like, okay, because everybody wants to be liked.
Yeah.
In some way. So you're waiting for these people that you really don't know to like you, and who cares if they like you or not?
Right.
And then it makes you feel, I think one thing that I don't like about it because it can make you feel more insecure. It can make you feel like, oh, well, I don't look that way, or I don't have that much of money.
It causes all type of depressions and
depression
just like,
and
anxiety. And all type of if you suffer from mental illnesses and stuff like that, and you're trying to find validation through the internet, it's kind of hard, because you're not going to get exactly what you're looking for. You're going to get another perspective of what you're trying to go for.
So it's almost like you're saying is that, maybe we need to result back into the old-fashioned thing about family and friends. Making your friends your family. I think a lot of times we think, our relatives, or we have to have that blood relative as family, but I think a lot of times, at least I found out in my life, in my career, is that no, the people that comes your way, that you're together enough, that becomes your family, and how they treat you and how you want to treat them. So in a way, you start building up your own tribe.
Right.
And you have to make friends. I think that's the problem now. It's like,
but everybody sticks to the internet to make friends. People don't walk up to you and talk to you anymore.
It's hard now for people to do it because you can be lazy on the internet and find little things, the getting to know you part and having to compromise. It's like, well, if I don't like what you post or what you did, I swipe past it, or I can unfollow you, and I can't just drop you like a friend like that. If I did, it would be, Tyler, why are you not answering my phone calls? Like, what happened? What's this? But it's so easy to be transactional when you're inside of that cyberspace that, people look to that because it's easier and they don't have to deal with tough things.
Yeah.
Human relationships force you
kind
to
of
deal
escape
with.
from what you're trying to
like,
feel.
what is this thing, ghosting? I've heard about this, and I think somebody ghosted me a couple of times, and my attitude is like, okay, fine.
Right.
I don't have to talk to you. I don't know you.
I don't know you.
I mean, and to me that's rude. That's emotional abuse.
Right.
Yeah, and a lot of youth in our generation is like, well, I was treated like this when I was young, so I don't really care. I'm going to treat the same person that way, or that's kind of how I, that's my mentality on just people, emotions, where I come from. But it's like, well, you was treated that way, and you don't really, like to be treated like that, and you know how you was feeling. Why do you want to hurt the next person? But like I could say, and Dietrich you know, he knows this one person too. But when we were advocating for youth and we would have our circles every Thursday and kind of express our feelings or our hurt, or if you had, you know, some sort of tension with someone, you kind of recognize it and you let them know in the circle, but the circle is all love, you know? So it's not like we don't go outside and, you know, talk about people. We kind of confront each other and deal with it in that circle. And one thing one girl said that I will never forget, but she was saying, hurt people hurt people. Yeah. And I was like, you know, it's really true, because it can go in so many different ways, and you hurt people when you're angry because, like, well, I don't know how to feel, you made me mad, so now I'm gonna make you angry, or you did this to me and that caused me a trigger, so now I'm gonna get back at you. And it's just like you have to learn how to deal with your own emotions and understand why you're feeling like this and confront the problem within yourself.
That's what's
first.
Our generation. We have
before
that bad.
Before you confront somebody else, you know. But now this generation, like, well, you made me mad, or you did this to me, so now I'm finna, you know, do this to you and some. Like, whoa, look at yourself first, you know, figure out where you did wrong, or how can you better this situation. But a lot of people just find the easy way out to blame somebody else for what you could have, you know, fixed yourself.
But then that sort of kind of goes into a circle. I mean, if you know, if I'm, you know, mad at you and you mad at me, she's going to be mad at me. I mean, it's all like a very negative.
Yeah.
But they don't
circle.
talk about it. They just kind of they just argue. They don't talk about the problem. They don't fix it. They just, you know, I'm not going to talk to you no more. And that's the end
and
of
a lot of people are so quick to fighting.
Fighting.
And of the gun violence, or just having some sort of weapon to defend their hurt. Like, I don't really think that solves anything, because at the end of fighting, somebody's going to get, you know, beat up. And then that person that got beat up is still angry and want to come back for you. So I'm like, what did that really solve, you know?
Yes. Well, we have to go back to self-checking, because a lot of it is that a lot of this can be prevented going back to unity, peace, and goodwill with fixing the internal. Because somebody has to get to the place of saying, you know what, how this is escalating, I don't need to be right. You know, for the sake of friendship or for the sake of peace or for the sake of whatever. Just because you are right doesn't mean that you have to be right.
Exactly.
You know, oh, well, I was bad to you because you were bad to me. It's going to have to come to a point to say that you were bad to me, but I'm still going to be good to you, you know? Yeah. Because if there isn't any self-checking, it'll constantly be that roller coaster. Well, you treated me like this, so I'm going to treat you like this. Or it may be that person that piles it up and it takes it, and then they blow up on everybody, you know, because they've absorbed so much of that negativity for so long. So there has to be that balance where you have that space where you're constantly having an internal dialogue. Like, is there anything in me that I can continue to better? Because even for the nicest person in the world, then their issue is they're a pushover, you know, like they can't. So there's always something within you that you can self-check and fix. And it still goes back to, are you giving out more than you're taking? Yeah. Because everybody can complain and have an excuse for this person did me wrong, or as the old saying, what came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, so you can always
I never
have that
know
issue.
which one comes first. I'm just like,
which one you don't know, you know? So you come to a point where you're like, okay, it is what it is. Right. And now that it is what it is, I'm just going to self-regulate by doing this. Everything outside of this spectrum and this realm that I can't control, I will not kind of control it. So like for myself, you know, I'm not really a social media person, but I make it my business to put safeguards around me on social media if I know there may be an area that I can go down this particular road, you know? So if there's something that's happening in my life that brings out a negative feeling, if that's a place that I can cocoon in on social media, that needs to be a block. If I'm walking down the street, and we had discussed earlier, and, you know, like I said, someone is on the elevator with me and I say good morning and they don't say it back, then I'm like, okay, she got my love for the day. Now, what's three other people that I can do it with? You know?
So you're saying that we almost, you know, getting back to these words, unity, peace, and goodwill, we almost have to have a script for ourselves every single day of how we're going to combat that. Because even with social media, one thing I found out, and I worked in public relations for a long time, and I was never too keen in on Facebook until my sister sort of kind of said, Pat, everybody's on Facebook. You've got to get on Facebook. Because I knew about human nature. I said, okay, I'm going to put all this stuff out. I'm pouring myself out to the public. What can the public do to me? Right. You know? And I said to myself, no, I'm going to have boundaries. This is how this is my mode of operation on Facebook. It's almost like you have to control it,
right, and not let it control you.
And
you have to know the validation that you need in life.
Yeah.
So if I'm the type of person, not even just on social media, if I'm the type of person, know your love language. If my love language is words of affirmation and I need a lot of praise, then I need to know that, so then I can self-regulate.
Right.
If my love language is quality time, or if it's acts of service, doing things for me or me doing things for other people. Once you know how you need validation, then it helps you in what you give out and what you bring back in. Because I feel like, you put out love, you'll get love.
Exactly.
If you're a words of affirmation person,
attraction.
you need to make it your business to affirm people constantly so that you can get that back. Okay. You can't raise people, and adults is this issue more than children, because children just learn from what parents teach them, know? Right. But if you're in an environment where you're taught to be selfish, or if life has never given you anything and you're that person where it's like, nobody ever did anything for me, nobody gave me a break, people always held me down, my parents didn't do nothing for me, blah blah blah, so you know what, it's me and mine, just me and mine, then okay, that's exactly how it's going to always be, because people always do like, okay, well, what you say you get back, but also as you think. There's a spiritual teaching that says as a person think in their heart, that's what they are, you know? And so it's even your thinking. It doesn't always have to be with your verbals, because that negative energy or that selfish energy, then you go on social media and you wonder why you're attracted to this type of social media page. Like, I feel violent and I want to punch somebody. Don't you think I'm going to go on I may not actually carry it out, but I'm going to go on a page where people actually did it, If I'm gossipy, I'm going to go to an environment where I want to know other people's business, So it's that internal that we have to fix to fix that external.
And I like what you said. I'm going to give you a little jingle. This is Christmas, people. No, but I think we're hitting on something. I mean, to develop your own love language.
Yeah.
Right.
In a world like we're dealing with here. Right. Mm-hmm. We have to, it's almost like a script, so we can still have our unity, peace, and goodwill. Mm-hmm. But what does that mean for us individually every day? How do we go out in the world?
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you were saying earlier about your tribe. So what people don't understand is that the elements of the tribalistic nature is changing now.
Yeah.
So your tribe used to be your color, or your tribe used to be, or your race, or your tribe used to be your gender. Right. But now your tribe is, do you like acts of service? I like acts of service. Do you like words of affirmation? I like words of affirmation. Right. And you begin to tribe with people who have the same agenda and the same mindset. Tech didn't take over now just because tech became... There was a group of kids who came up in the 80s in that Microsoft movement that had a certain mindset and intelligence factor. Right. Same way in the 60s. You had a group that was very artistic, and a lot of the elements that came from their parents being in the Renaissance era. So that it ushered in a mentality of a tribal instinct where everyone was the same. This new generation now, unfortunately, with not really unfortunately, but with television and stuff, we have a very impulsive generation now. The young people now, it can go good or bad. Yeah. If you get on their bad side, they'll riot you, shut you down, boycott your whole brand. But if you do something good, they'll go out and, like I said, in Florida, they said 16 to 18, or even here in Los Angeles, they said the young people that registered to vote and actually voted was up 244%. Wow. Yeah. So that's some of the highest numbers ever. Yeah. So because we can look at it on one side and say, well, they'll follow celebrities or they'll jump on this and that. But if it's focused correctly, it can also have some very powerful positive effects. But it's getting people as a whole to work and understand their inside so that they can project and then click with people on the outside who have those same dynamics.
Right.
Well, how do you get into your insides? I mean, how do you know who you are?
I think just kind of, well, for me, I've always been
on
different.
The inside.
Yeah, even on the inside, because I'm when I was in high school and stuff, I wasn't the average, you know, as far as like kindness or like a lot of people in my community, they were so aggressive or so mean, but I was just so, you know, kind-hearted. But what I do is I actually kind of meditate and find out, like, you know, I have my triggers. So I'm like, okay, you know, if this make me feel this way, I kind of try to work on that and bring awareness by kind of, you know, figuring out the people I have in my life, or just knowing when my adrenaline start rushing and just little stuff like that. I have to, like you said, self-inflict on what I would do to others. I treat others how I want to be treated, you know? And I think that's just starting off with one, like whether you know yourself or not, you just treat people how you want to be treated, and then it starts from that. But you always, I read a lot, you know, so that kind of helped me build who I am in the inside. So reading, meditating, and I think a lot of unity, peace, and goodwill comes from, I mean, I don't know, a lot of people may or may not be spiritual, but I believe the Most High has to do with a lot of that stuff, because you can go through so much, or you can have, you know, whether it's hate or love in your heart and stuff like that, and that'll develop who you are, but the Most High will always guide you, you know?
Well, do you think, you know, that, and I guess this has been an age-old question, too. Do you think we're more love or more hate as humans?
I
think the love is the dominant, or does the hate or the discomfort squashes down the love? Or is it something that we have to work at all the time?
As far as love, I think that's something you always, you know, have to work at, because you can't just be like, okay, I love you today and then I hate you tomorrow.
Right.
You know, you have to, okay, if I love you, I'm still going to love you regardless. I just have to deal with, you know, whatever it is that it is. And that's going back to, okay, what are you willing to accept? Your boundaries, you know, just who you are, your own integrity, your morals, you know, the respect you have for yourself. Because if you don't have respect for yourself, you're not going to want to go out and respect somebody else and show them the loving goodwill that we have, you know, you have within. Because it's just kind of like, well, I don't care about myself, so why do I care about you? And I don't hate myself, but, you know, I hate who I am, and I don't like who I am, so why do I have to love on somebody that's, you know, either like me or better than me? Because then it's like, well, I don't like that, you know? So then it kind of goes to, well, I'm going to hate you because of something that I'm working on myself, or something I'm not sure of, you know? But as far as humans, I think we all come out with love. Like, we all love each other. Like, you're born to love, you know? Yeah. You're born to be a blessing upon others. Like, when you see little kids, you don't see little kids, oh, I hate you, you know? They just like, oh, a little kid, I want to play with him. Right. But it's all up to your parents to teach you, like, you don't talk to kids like that, or you don't be this. And if you see a mean kid like this, you take their toy, or you know, just, you're teaching them how to hate, basically. But
well, and what I'm coming to conclusion is that we have to, I think you were talking about this too, you have to work at that.
Yeah,
because if you look at all the different religions in the world,
the one thing they have in common is love. Like,
it's love. And they work at it, because you're talking about meditation.
Yeah.
I mean, I was reading someplace, I think it was Dalai Lama. He meditates 5 times a day. And then, you know, you have the Muslims 5 times a day. And then, you know, in Christianity, we pray morning, noon, and night. And so it just seems like in our humanness is that, no, we're working with dark forces out here. Man, so we need to, as I guess, be prayed up.
Right. And even if you're not religious and you don't want to use the word prayed up, you meditate. You meditate.
And say these good words, you know.
And you just reflect on yourself, like, okay, I'm feeling this, or I want the better, so let me see how can I reevaluate this situation and go about it the best way possible. You don't have to be like, for 5 hours, you know, but you can sit there mentally and be like, okay, I need 60 seconds,
Take 1 minute.
All it takes is 59 seconds to reevaluate how you're feeling, you know?
But I think also, too, some people have to even get there. So, because a lot of times what we're dealing with in the world now is people have trouble dealing with themselves.
Yeah,
so
in our generation, a lot of people they have a lot of mental issues. They don't know how to deal with things. So they just seclude themselves. You know, I'm going to deal with this way. They use drugs, alcohol.
Yeah.
They run to that. So it's like, why do you have to run it? You should be able to talk to someone, but everybody's not comfortable with sharing anymore because everybody will blast their business
on social media.
And that's unhealthy.
Yeah,
you got to talk about it. You got to find a space or someone that you feel comfortable with to let it out, because it's like you got to because you'll explode.
Exactly. And it takes time. Like I said, they normally teach you in mental health, like the first thing when you have a lot of patients that are in care, before they get out, before you can deal with yourself, you get back to dealing with people.
Right.
So it's a cycle.
Right.
The first way that I can feel better about myself when I'm personally going through something and I may not trust you to share, or I may have some paranoia on the inside, or I may have multiple things going on in my head.
Right.
The common denominator is I can give to someone else. And it does not require anything in my space that's uncomfortable.
That's what I did today. Like, this girl I know I went to school with, I don't talk to her like that, but I know she had a couple of mental issues. She had problems. And she said, like, she's about to go through a mental breakdown and she needs somebody to talk to. So I just told her, like, just pray on it. Find somebody to talk to. Like, I don't talk to you every day, but you shouldn't have to post that you're about to go through a mental breakdown. You shouldn't have to post that.
But and when you put that out there, and now that she did that, whatever she was dealing with that day, it puts it in perspective for her. Because it's like, well, I just talked somebody else off the ledge. So maybe what I was going through was not as bad.
Right.
So it goes back to that cycle of a lot of it comes with selfishness. You have to take it out of self. Right. And the more you give to people, and a lot of the things that, like, the fruit of the Spirit is taught in multiple different religions in different ways, but the core of it is still love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, gentleness, and self-control.
That's just
the beginning of mankind. So when you give that to people, if I see you and say hello, if I see you and say, oh, if you have an issue, come talk to me. If I see you and say, hey, you want a pie? I made a pie. All of those are three different things that I said, but they had nothing to do about me.
That's right.
And then when I get home and I want to go back throughout my day and I can say, well, this went wrong and the traffic was bad and my boss was horrible and, my daughter was ungrateful and I can go, but I can still be like, you know what? We had a great conversation because I said hi to you. And I can go back and say, you know what? Hopefully we was able to resolve her issues and I'm thinking about her. Like, hopefully I'll check on her tomorrow. Then I'm going to go over here and say, I need to follow up with her and see if she liked my pie. It took it off of me because now I had something else to fill that space. So what happens with people, if you're not careful, everything is bad and negative because it's always about you.
That's right.
And so then you get on social media and then you to a certain extent prostitute yourself in whatever way, because again, it's about
prostitute yourself. That's what we're doing.
Whether it's like, because some people are like, they'll get so upset because they'll go, I knew some people, they were like, I put up a motivational quote and this one got this many likes, but she put up a quote and it wasn't half as good as mine and she got that many likes. And I'm like, wait a minute.
I know people like that.
I'm like, this is just a quote. It's just a quote, But that's where, so it doesn't always have to be something vulgar. It could be something that's basic, but it's to the point where you're prostituting yourself because, again, it's about you.
Right.
And the only way that we can self-correct what's going on in the world is to think about ourselves. And that includes everything. Not just me and my daughter. Not just me and my group of friends that's here. Like, completely take it out of your realm of separation and say, oh, I'm not going to give to a lady on my job who may be going through something. No, I'm going to completely give selflessly my time, my energy, my deeds, whatever it is, to somebody that I totally get nothing in return. Then we can put into perspective, because a lot of mental illness has been, it stems from narcissism, unchecked narcissism that has now spun out of control.
Right.
And if you have children who have grown up with neglect already, for whatever reason, they didn't receive the nurturing that they needed from infancy through childhood, and then you put in natural narcissism with it, you have a recipe for a disaster.
Yeah.
And so, we have to self-check as much as possible.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe we need these respite areas of mental health in our communities, places where people can go and just talk about their issues.
See, people are afraid to talk about their issues.
Yeah. Because
I don't think that talking about your issues is going to be it at this time, because things are so convoluted that you can't talk about your right now. The only way that we're going to get people to change is through self-check giving. You got to give your way out of this. That's what they always say. If you want to get out of a bad situation, if they say you're going through hell, don't stop and take pictures.
You're going through it, so keep
go
going.
through it. And so it's like, I'm in the middle of hell. I'm taking a selfie down here. Like, no, the best way to get over a bad attitude is to force myself into doing something. We have to teach people how to give. You have to stop talking about your issues, because we're going to glorify it and blow it up 5 times more than what it needs to be. Because that's what people are now taking sadness and they're perverting it for attention. So who has the biggest sob story?
And sometimes people don't even be sad. They'll just make make
post it
for attention. Just for attention. So that's where we are. The people on Kickstarter who got with the homeless man or said that he was sick or something just to steal the money, or just they're playing off of people's sympathy.
And it's so sad because you don't know who's what, and you don't know who's on edge or nothing.
And it's like, well, she said she was going to do it 16 times. So then after a while, you don't know if the 16th time is just for attention or if the 16th time is the actual time.
And some people wait for the 16th time because they're not sure. Like, you going to wait till I kill myself, then be like, well, she said 16 times and she did it 17 times, but I'm not sure.
I used to have a family member. I mean, this was before social media, but it was, I can't make it anymore. I just can't do it. And after a while, my great aunt would be like, well, go ahead. Let us know. Call us. You have them call us when you get done doing it. Because at that time, they didn't take that. Now we kind of mama rub and we anesthetize this foolishness. Mommy rub. Right. And so we create these spoiled kids of like, oh, Kanye, he's dancing on tables and he's going berserk. He must have a mental illness, or this happened
they
because
so
of
quick
what
to
happened
blame
to
a
his
mental
mom.
illness.
A lot of it. And so then what do? It feeds a bad child, because what can you hide it under the banner of? Well, I'm mentally ill, or my mom died, so that's the reason why. But I want to say, well, 50,000 other people's mom died on the same day as you, and they're not going to work standing on tables going crazy. Right. They would not have a job.
You're
right
not
now,
the only one that's going through this.
Who's going through something? So we have to be very careful about letting people talk about stuff, because they'll take that and pervert it.
Right. Like you said, they label everything a mental illness. It could be something so small.
Right.
Literally, like, that's a mental illness.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Oh, she have ADHD. Oh, she must be depressed. Or, this and this and that. Like, she's schizophrenic. Oh, no, she's just acting. And she just needs Jesus. Like,
she's extra. She wants
attention.
Right.
Well, Well, great. Well, on that note, we're going to take a little bit of a break, like maybe 15 seconds or so, and we're going to bring Dietrich Foley to the table and to join us as a special guest. And so that's what we're going to do. So come on back. Well, we're back here on Town Hall Cafe, and wow, we were really getting into some deep conversation about unity, peace, and goodwill. And we are joined here with Dietrich Foley, and we want to really have you chime in our conversation about unity, peace, and goodwill. What do these words mean? And are they obsolete, or do we have to come within ourselves? What's your opinion, Mr. Foley?
Well, first, or
your thoughts there.
First, let's just take a minute to appreciate that I'm here. Let's just take that minute. I'm kidding.
Okay.
But these 3 words, they're not. I don't want to say they're not dignified anymore, but they're not what they used to be.
Right.
You know, we got all these people, not only just, you know, around us, but we got these people in office. We got Trump in office. We got a KKK member as vice president. Like, and we expect these words to still mean something to us. Like, we voted for somebody that did some of the most awful things in history and still got elected president. So what do these words mean? Do they mean anything, or are they just words now?
No.
That's a big question.
That's a big, and I think you're making a good point. I mean, we're not exactly living in an environment as a whole,
right.
you know, that preaches, you know, togetherness. And matter of fact, I think it's an attempt to divide us, you know, to create, you know, the chaos among the people. I mean, even, you know, you look at a country like ours, United States, there's differences. We have regional differences, we have ethnic differences, we have economical differences. And so, to me, if you're a leader of anything, like a family, you should be waging those to bring people together, not to divide. Right. And when you start dividing people, especially, again, a country like ours with some deep wounds, there's some deep historic wounds. It's like a scab on your knee, and if you keep messing with it, it's going to bleed. Yeah. And I think that's what the environment that we're in today. And I think we have to overcome that. We got to figure out, well, this is what it is, but are we going to succumb to that? Because then you got people at each other's throats.
Yeah.
That's power hungry, though. That's what it is. That's power hungry. That's not. You know, we talk about unity, we talk about peace, we talk about goodwill. They're all pretty much the same thing. And that's the issue. People want to be one thing. They don't want to be everything. Right. You know, it's like people want money, but they don't want to do the good things to get it. They want to do the cheap way to get out. So I'm just going to go sell crack on the corner. I'm just going to make a social media page with fake stuff on it. Like, any way to get to the top is what people do nowadays. Instead of lifting each other up, and we can all make it to the top. And we can all make sure that we're there. You know, we're stuck there. Yeah. But, you know, people want to go on social media. They want to bring people down. Oh, I'm going to bring you down, and I can take your place at the top. What is that going to do for you? Because then if you're the only person at the table, you're not the king. You're the target.
Right.
That's what you got to remember. Now, when you get up there by yourself, and you done pretty much, you know, tore everybody apart that was trying to help you get there, and you at the top by yourself, what you gonna do?
Right.
Because you the target. Now all the people that was your friends, I was gonna help you get there. Now they coming for you. So what you gonna do then? What you gonna do? Because you ain't got nobody. You ain't got nobody to help you. You ain't got nobody to be there for you. You can't talk to nobody. You're the target. You're the target.
Yeah, and that usually means that's not a good thing because, again, we were talking a little bit about mental illness, is that then that feeds on itself, and that makes you destructive.
Right.
And it makes people do things that they don't want to do.
Right.
You know,
we got people who fought for our rights. You know, Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks. We hear about Martin Luther King, but for some reason we only hear about him one time a year now. Martin Luther King Day. Why is that? Because they don't want us to talk about that. Right. They don't want us to sit here and be like, okay, well, our people fought for our right to have a seat on the bus. Our people fought for our right to have our voice spoken. They don't want us to do that. Because why? That's when people start banding together. What happens when people band together?
Good things.
Unity start. Good things happen. Right. Organizations get built. So many good things happen, but they don't want that. Right. They don't want that.
Because if you look at a sports team, I mean, we were looking at the NFL.
You have to be a team player.
You have to be, right.
You have to be a team player. There's no, you can't be a team and it's just one person. Like, it's just not going to work, you know? And I think that's what just life, period. Like, we're all trying to get somewhere, help somebody out, but everybody nowadays is worried about themselves. You know, like, oh, I'm a team player because I have the shirt on, but ultimately, I'm just worried about myself and my position, you know? I'm not worried about your position and what you got to do. Just pass me what I need so I can get where I'm trying to go. Like, you can't do that. Like, you know?
there's no responsibility in the culture anymore.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the reasons why things are so hard, you know, for people right now is that nobody wants to be responsible for anyone.
Right.
And so what happens is that now people say, look, I just want to take care of myself. And if I have to take care of you, I will, you know, or if I have to take care of my child, you know, I'll do the things that I have to do. But no one wants to be forced to do anything, or no one wants to accept on the responsibility to do anything. And it still goes back to the core of selfishness. And so what happens is not only do we have to begin to raise up people to become givers, we have to raise up people to be responsible. You know, we want to jump on the back of, well, this is what Martin Luther King did, and this is what, you know, Franklin Delano Roosevelt did, all of these great people. But one of the biggest things was that they stepped outside of themselves and took on the responsibility. Where someone says, you know what, I'm going to go and sit at the top of the table and I'm going to be the target. You know, because a lot of times the responsibility, the problem with people is that they want the rise and they want the fame and they want the attention, but they don't want the responsibility that comes with it. And so then when things get hard and you have to be held accountable for the things that you do, you know, then the whole dynamic changes. And so, and this is with everything. I'm angry because I have to go to work to be and work 9 to 5 and I'm not getting paid what I wanted to. Well, there was a certain point in your life that you probably could have made different choices and been more responsible. And so now you're getting the hand that was dealt you because this is the hand that you played before, you know? And so even right now, you know, I sometimes me and my daughter, it's just, everything will be fine. Like, I don't have to go to school every day. And I'm, you know, I'm only in the 3rd grade and it doesn't matter. And I was like, but when you're 17, I was like, or worse, when you're 27, I was like, and you're looking and it's like, I can't really figure this out like I should have. Or, you know, something's going to come up. You're going to want those skills that I may have let you miss and pass. And I said, and then what type of parent would I be then if I'm then turning around having to take care of you at 27? I was like, because I didn't want to handle my responsibility of being the parent and getting up and taking you to school and handling your schedule. So that it all goes back to the selflessness and the self-checking and handling the responsibility for the place that we have responsibility in society. I don't go, you know, when I walk down the street, if it's not nothing massive, there's a little tissue on the ground, throw it away. Because this is my community. I feel responsible. I'm not saying you just go and shovel trash all day or constantly. Yes, I think everybody has the right to serve and be served, but there's things that you can do to take it off of you and put it back on how you can help build out your surroundings to make the world better.
And doesn't that make you feel good?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
You know, it's not necessarily just about responsibility or whatever we're talking about. It's also about the fact that people don't know how to fall and get back up. People fail, and it's like with the NFL. A team can have 11 great winning seasons, you know, be like the Patriots. All of a sudden, they have one losing season, and who gets fired? The head coach. Why? Because they don't want to put the responsibility on all those players. It's not the coach. The coach ain't the one playing. That's not on him. The problem is you got players in here that think that they too talented to do what you want them to do. You know, it's like the Patriots. The reason why the Patriots are so good in the NFL, it ain't because of Belichick. It's because of Brady. It's the quarterback. If you got somebody, you can't be a leader until you can learn how to follow your own shadows. That's why it's in front of you.
And he took the responsibility.
Exactly.
And he took the responsibility.
Our shadows are in front of us for a reason. If you can't learn to follow your own shadow, you don't need to be a leader.
Right.
That is the problem. People want to lead, but they can't follow.
Yeah, they can't. There's
you got to know how to follow before you can lead. Otherwise, where are you leading? You ain't leading nobody but yourself down to the pit of shame. Right. And then when you get there, you want to blame everybody else. Oh, well, they did this, they did that. What did you do? Because apparently you weren't the leader that nobody was looking for. Nobody ain't following you. Or you must be doing something wrong.
Or you might be a leader thinking that you're leading because of your ego. It's something about, I got to be a leader. It makes me feel better rather than most of the leaders I've known, the group leaders I've known and I admire are leaders who you don't even know if they're leading.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you know, they're just there, but their group, but their team is moving forward. Their team is making wins. Their team is, and even when you have the photo op, where's the leader? the leader's in the back
somewhere
or off in the side. Right. You don't even know who that leader is, but the team.
Right, because when you're leading, you're not leading for the fame. You're leading for the goodness of either the goodness of your heart or the goodness of your community. But a lot of people don't know the 5 pillars of leadership, you know? So you can't really lead or expect change or have this peace within or create unity in your community if you don't even have the 5 pillars of leadership within yourself, you know? Like, and that's what a lot of people don't do. They don't acknowledge or get the respect from somebody else or the permission from somebody else. They be like, okay, well, I think, or this is best for them because of what I'm trying to do, or this will best result in my favor, or something like that, you know? But like, leadership is more than just like, you know, the picture, or it's just hard work, because I mean, you have to do so much, you know, to even get recognition. Like, I think like fame. Like, it's easy to get fame, but notoriety is hard work, you know, and you don't get you know, you don't get noticed until you already basically at the top, and you done did all the hard work, and you done broke your knee, and you can't write no more, and your brain just can't function because you're so tired, and you get the rest when you're at the top. But they be like, oh wow, I see she created the pathway for everybody else, but you know, they be like, well, it's easy for me because I get to walk straight through, but I'm the one that was building it and scraping it and creating it and, you know, hurting myself for the next generation. And I think that's like our generation don't do. They don't think about the next generation. They just think about, like, you know, what's going on in today's world, you know, and they don't think about the outcome for tomorrow. And, you know, so it's kind of like how you say you're stuck in a generation of like both, you know, her and then us, and you're just like, well, you're going back and forth. But it's kind of like our generation is like, okay, we're not stuck in your generation or this generation. We have more opportunity than what you guys had, you know. And they don't really take forth the opportunity or the leadership and anything in that nature. So it's kind of like, you know, the future will show as far as leadership and the work that we put forth today, like this peace and unity and stuff that we need.
Yeah.
You'll see, you know, how good it is in the future, because either the future can be better because we put in the work now, or the next generation will have to suffer the cards we dealt for this generation, you know?
So with Dietrich and Dietrich, with your group of your age group, so how do you translate this unity, peace, and goodwill in the 21st century on a day-to-day basis? Or is there a translation?
I wouldn't say I necessarily have a translation, but I enjoy loving people in general. Right. I enjoy that to the fullest extent, and Mariah can tell you. Right. I enjoy loving people. I don't care if people don't love me. I'm going to love you regardless, because you're going to accept it whether you like it or not. I don't care if you hate me. As soon as I see you, I'm going to walk up to you and hug you just because you hate me. At the end of the day, what you hate me for? Because I love you too much?
Right.
You don't have to learn how to get over that. Because at the end of the day, I'm still going to do it. It ain't a single person on this planet that stopped me from loving somebody.
Right.
Because nobody can do it. Why? Because I love myself enough to know that I can love other people. Whether they say it or not, I know they feel it.
Right.
You can't tell me that you don't feel it. Because every time somebody see me, they be like, oh, here we go. I'm like, yeah, here we go. Girl, I'm finna shower you with love. What's up? Now, you know, me, sometimes I do go overboard with it. Sometimes I do, but you never know what somebody is feeling anymore. Just because somebody's smiling don't mean that they ain't had a bad day. Right. So I'm finna shower you with love until you be like, you know what, I can't take it no more. And when you tell me that, I'm still gonna shower you with love. Why? Because I don't know what you're going through. You might be saying that because you're having a bad day. Right. But you ain't gonna have a bad day around me. That's what you ain't gonna do. I love you to the fullest if I got to. You know, I love you until I fall asleep. But I'll wake back up and love you again. You know?
Yeah. So you have, so that goes back to what you were saying in terms of we have to build in our own language.
You have to give your way out of it. Right. And so no matter what it is, his is giving love. Hers may be giving, you know, words of encouragement. Mine's may be giving information. Yours may be giving opportunity. It still goes back to you have to do something externally to fix the internal. If you do not put something out there and give to something out there, you won't get anything back.
It's perfectly like y'all said earlier, you know, like family is not always who you're born with. It's who you make it out to be. Right. You know, family is not always about my blood, but family can always be forever.
Right.
That's the one thing that we need to learn to remember.
And not only that, but you know, I forgot what I was going to say. Wow. It was good too. Hold on.
I know. But going back to what Dietrich said, I think that's true, to try to kind of wrap up our conversation about, where do you find this love and all, we're talking about tribes and making our own family, our own language, and not forgetting who we are. Because I think about in my life, I grew up in the Midwest. I lived in D.C. I lived in L.A. And now, my friends are my family. I do have a family, but they're more of my family than my real family. I hope anybody listening to it, I still love you too. But, but the people I met along the way. Yeah. And I think that's just how life is, that life puts people along the way, and you never know.
You because just show gratitude. That's it. Gratitude is what it is. Like you don't have to you don't have to spend $1,000 to buy a whole pantry for the food for somebody. But like self-reflecting, what makes you happy? As far as seeing somebody else. When you see somebody else, do you want to make them smile, or do you want to give them food, or do you just want to write them a letter because it's free? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or just anything. Like just kind of look at yourself and figure out, okay, what like for example, like I don't know. Okay. Let's say if I didn't know you, like, okay, I don't know you, but I'm having a bad day, but I know I like to see people smile because smile means something good, So it doesn't hurt to say hello, how you doing, or just even smile, like, and that just shows the gratitude within yourself, and that brings peace to people because, like, okay, now I was frowning all day, but somebody smiled at me, so now I'm feeling a little better, like that's all it takes is just a smile,
Right. No, it's not anything hard. We just have to get to a place now where, and then we have to stop looking at it to get something in return.
Yes.
Now 50 years from now I want my name written in a wall. I want somebody to talk about me. No, I just did it. I did it just because I did it to someone that I didn't know. I don't even know if they needed it or not.
Sometimes the opportunity can come from that.
It's there. Look how we became friends. Right. We just randomly met on a night somewhere where we had something in common, you know? Right. And so these things happen out of the blue, and then you create these groups and these cultures. But if we never, see each other again, it's okay, you know? And I think what sometimes the culture is that we try to make everything so permanent. Okay. I think that has been something that has polluted the culture, that nothing in life is permanent. The ecosystem is not even permanent,
The ecosystem is terrible right now.
And so, it's ready to be recycled, So,
okay. So, on that note, we're wrapping up here, and I have a young lady that would like to come up to wish us a Merry Christmas. You are on cue, my lady. And I think this conversation was great, was wonderful. And what I got out of it, be yourself, love, peace, and happiness. You have to make your own language. And this is a season to remember that. And we look forward to seeing everybody in 2019. Love, peace, and happiness.
Merry Christmas.
Did he?
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays.
Oh, that's me! Oh!
Do your jingles. Do your jingle bells. Hey.